they're a little spicy. And I'll start with the Wiggins thing here because you're right. Draymond and Wiggins are the two most polarizing players on the team outside of Bridge Troll. Well, actually, Bridge Troll's not polarizing. Right? I think we're all in agreement.
No, I don't think it's polarizing anymore.
Anyway, I stand corrected. Okay. I feel like the Spurs are a team that we may deal with given the connection and given the systems, right? I feel like they would trust Spur players, right? We've heard Rudy Gay's name floated around. I think I heard something about Trey Lyles, and you look at their you could do like a Lyles for Looney type thing, and Trey Lyles is on his 1 year, so it'd be like a rental, and then you get off Looney's deal. But again, Looney is in the sacred circle, so I'm not holding my breath there, right? But here's my proposition, because a lot of people feel like Wiggins is just this huge negative and act as if I've heard people propose to me like, oh, we could just dump his contract. Like there is a lot of people that think that way. Yeah. Like if we could just dump his contract, it'd be a godsend for, a second round pick. Like, and so here's my proposition. DeMar DeRozan for Andrew Wiggins straight up. What you would be doing is you're not punting on this season because you've got DeMar DeRozan in the back end of his prime. 31 years old is DeMar DeRozan. Now he's going to be a free agent, right? And so now all of a sudden the Warriors open up flexibility. You could just bring back Kelly Oubre. You could bring back DeRozan. Now DeRozan is definitely not the defender that Wiggins is. It sounds crazy to say that, but he's not. But what DeRozan is exactly what they want Wiggins to be with the second unit. Just a takeover ISO guy. You possibly could bring him back. Again, his window fits our other guys, or you just have the flexibility.
I actually really like it. The bigger question would be from San Antonio's side, right? Like, if they believe that Pop can pull the best out of Wiggins, then I like the deal for both sides. From the Warriors side, DeRozan, like, I really wrote him off until this season, but he's been playing quite well. Yeah, and he's never played with anybody next to Steph. I mean, nobody has except for the people that have. But it's an interesting exchange. I don't know if San Antonio wants to take on that long contract.
You're right, but again, they're not attracting they're not attracting even a player the caliber of Wiggins. They're really not, right? Remember how they got DeMar? Did DeMar sign there? No, they got no. That was the trade. That was the Kawhi trade.
He's from the Kawhi
They're not going to attract anybody, even the caliber of Wiggins. And mind you, if San Antonio is kind of balancing of rebuilding and sustaining, right? That balancing act. But if you look at their young players, DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker, Jakob Poeltl, they could make this shit a track meet because Wiggins fits right in with those athletes, right? And then do you think DeRozan would shoot threes for Kerr? I think he'd shoot the corner three. I think he'd shoot that corner three for him, right? I know I could see him doing it. The Warriors culture does some funny things to people.
I actually really like it, and especially just from an assets point of view with regards to that he's in his contract year. DeRozan from LA, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He is.
So I'm assuming that retaining him on a favorable deal for the Warriors, whatever either party may decide that is, I think that it'd be easier for the Warriors to do it than most of the teams in the league trying to keep DeRozan, because I feel like this is the first time DeRozan's getting to choose where he's going, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I feel like staying with the Warriors may be ideal for him. He always goes to the hoop. He wants to score. Defensively, he hasn't been that bad this year, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he will buy into the team concepts. He's not going to be the guy that you're like, hey, you're on Braun, you're on Kawhi, right? I mean, he's a body, but I think that he will buy into the team concepts. And you're right, it could be a match made in heaven. You just look at his age, you look at where he's from, and the Warriors culture is still appealing despite the last two seasons. And if not, right, all of a sudden that opens up $30 million spot for Oubre, perhaps. So I don't know. That's one that came to mind.
I like it a lot. If we were on the Hoop Collective, I'm sure Winnie would scoff at you because he thinks that the Wiggins contract is the worst thing on the planet. But I personally think that it kind of works for San Antonio. Like,
DeRozan's going to walk.
Yeah, for sure.
He's going to walk.
And I don't think they're getting much for DeRozan elsewhere. I don't think they're getting a lot of picks for him. Max, they're getting a late first round pick. I can't imagine they're getting two.
Okay, I like this one. But I know many people are not, because I'm higher on this guy than most. Okay. Kelly Oubre and Brad Wanamaker for Marvin Bagley and Bielitsa. Oubre, obviously, Sacramento, I don't really have to justify anything from their side, right? They might just do it, right? And then, no, but Bagley reportedly is being shopped. What that does is it buys the Warriors one more season with Bagley under his rookie deal. Some may say you can't play he and Wiseman together. I disagree. I think Kerr at some point here is going to figure out that Wiseman can actually space the floor offensively. Bagley, I mean, can we, it's much like what Draymond was talking about the Suns for years. One, he's been hurt. So I have to be, upfront about that. There is concern about his durability, but I mean, he's kind of been corrupted by the organization. You kind of secure him for next year, and then Bielitsa is obviously a Warrior type stretch 4-5 guy that could help us right now. You get off Wanamaker and Oubre, they can do what they want with him.
Yeah, I mean, I like it for Sacramento. I'm a bit higher on Oubre than most people I think are. I think as an asset, he still has value, but also on court, I just really like what he's been doing lately. If Bagley wasn't injury prone, maybe, but I mean, I'm high on his potential too. We talked about this off air once, that I was really high on him in the draft, and I still feel like there is a lot of potential there. If Kerr's willing to say, like, for sure that he's going to play those two together in the future when they both blossom, it'd be interesting. I don't know if that he'd ever be able to do that.
And I think that Bagley also, let's be realistic here, is probably headed towards a Montrezl Harrell type of role. So he doesn't, he'd be like your first big off the bench. And boy, you want to talk about a contrast to Looney. Now we're talking IQ as well, but physically too, man. He's a jumping jack, the quickest second jump in the league, probably for someone that size, and just the motor and energy. He actually has a lot of the same intangibles Oubre has. He's not as far along in his career.
I would say that if the Warriors already know that there's a threshold to how much they're going to pay Oubre, and their sense around the league is that someone else is willing to pay higher than that threshold, then I like the exchange. We're willing to pay Oubre 18 at the very max. We know someone wants to give him 23. Well, we ain't fucking paying Oubre $23 million like for 4 years. So let's move him now, because we're not going to be able to retain him for a value that we would like to retain him. I like him as much as you do. Yeah, like, I don't think most people do. He doesn't have a lot of value right now when you talk about it on the pods, but he, like you said, he's playing Sacramento, and it's not really the best place to be for anybody. Nobody really looks that great over there. So it's interesting.
I'll put it to you like this. So Clay's back healthy. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, right? Bagley would be playing the same role as Oubre, only as a 4-5, right?
Yep.
The first guy off the bench, energy, just pick up the pace, just a jackrabbit, right? So it's just something to throw out there. Let's move on. Let's keep it moving. What you got?
I sent you one before. If we want to stay on Warriors, it's the last one that'll do with the Warriors.
Okay. Okay. You were saving this one.
Yeah, I talked to you about this one a while back.
Go ahead. Do your victory lap. Here.
I don't even see it as a victory lap, because I'm still not sure if it's in the best interest of the Warriors, but I think it's interesting. Yeah. So sending Kevon Looney or any other two minimum contracts, I personally would love to get rid of Looney in any way, shape, or form. So I put his contract here next to the Minnesota pick for SGA from the Thunder. Yeah. I think that this is the only situation the Thunder really want to get rid of Gilgeous-Alexander, because even if, let's say, Boston wanted to send them 3 or 4 picks, I don't know why they really need any more late first-round picks. The mid pick is different, like I talked about before. They wanted to tank. They're not tanking at the moment. They should be a bottom 3 team. They get rid of SGA. They have this pick. They build around the 2 players that they're going to produce from those 2 picks, and it fits more of the timeline where they're going, because SGA doesn't look like he's going to be the best player in a team, but if he's the second or third best player in a team, I think his ceiling's pretty high. He's been playing well. I really like him next to Steph. I mean, I like everybody next to Steph, I guess.
He's the LaMelo cover-up. He's right. He'd essentially be LaMelo, what LaMelo would have been, right, for the Warriors.
Do you want to do that? Like, do you feel like we should have took LaMelo?
I think it's too early, man. It's too early. Yeah, like right now, it's like, oh man, this kid looks super special for sure.
Yeah,
But
he does look.
I've watched enough basketball. I'm old enough to know like it's way too premature. I think we've seen enough to say, okay, LaMelo's going to be a star. He is. But I think it's way too early to make a read on Wiseman.
Yeah, I think with Wiseman, it's just like I still feel like we made the right pick, and the fact of all the potential and skills we see already on court from Wiseman, we don't know what type of player he will be in his totality, but the skills is what we drafted. The skills are there and more. So I don't think we made the wrong pick in that respect.
No, I hear you. It's too early, but you know, again, these youngsters out here, it's a what have you done for me lately? They living by the night, like night to night. But yeah, the rookie talk. Let's just save that for another time. I will say this: you were pumping up SGA. You had brought this up before the season, and I was adamant about the value of that pick, and I still am. I think it's looking even better at this point.
Absolutely.
Let's be honest. But SGA has been very impressive in his ability to shoot the three. Much like Juan T, obviously we're talking different caliber players, but it's really changed the outlook of his overall game. And I just wasn't a real believer in it. And then again, the alphaness of Chris Paul and, you know, his role in the Clippers, he was always kind of this little, you know, this young dude that didn't have to shoulder much. And you're seeing kind of more of a star quality to him this season. And then the size, the versatility, the pace. He's a Warriors player. So it definitely makes sense. I might do it. I might do it.
The best part about anybody hitting up the Thunder for SGA is the fact that he's got the 2 years. Yeah, he's got the extra year. So next year you paying him 4.5. So with any other trade you're talking about, if like, for instance, a team wants to acquire John Collins, yeah, you can trade him for almost nothing, just a lot of assets, but then you got to pay him next year. Whereas the Warriors can't or shouldn't want to add another huge contract on what they already have as a monstrous salary. But with SGA, they trade him for basically nothing, basically just the Minnesota pick, right? Something to match. But next year they don't have to pay him. He just fits right in at 4.5 million.
It begs the question, like, can Presti really do that? He's so young. You talk about their window and timetable. I mean, the sensible person would say he'll be right in his prime when y'all are getting good. But I understand what you're saying in the way that Presti has operated in the past, and they're kind of a little too good right now. So I get that. If I were them, I wouldn't trade him.
That's why I'm saying this is the only scenario where the Thunder should consider it. Because if I'm Boston and I hit them up, I'm like, hey, I give you 4 first-round draft picks and Neesmith.
Peyton Pritchard's nice. We'll give you Peyton Pritchard. The Oklahoma City fan base will love Pritchard, bro.
But like, I don't need another 4 firsts, right? If I'm the Thunder.
Right. They have to consolidate their assets.
It's the mini pick that's interesting. Yeah, the mini pick is special.
Right. And it's almost that'd be a tough call, but I wouldn't be mad at it. You know what I mean?
That's a big change, yeah, because you weren't about it at all at the beginning. But I mean, he's a different player now, right? So
and that's what it is. We got to be dynamic here. Exactly. I wasn't a believer. Just like with Juan T. And now it's like, okay, man, if you can, because let's be real here. If you're like under 6'9" or 6'10", you have to shoot the three. Draymond, you know, like, and so that was like my hang up. And I know that like some of the percentage, I didn't know if it was real. And, you know, and so that and just his ability to kind of be that guy, it would fit, man. That's a good one.
On court, though, like with his pace, do you feel like it would still work with him and Draymond on the floor? Because SGA kind of needs the ball a lot. Yeah, like he can shoot off ball.
We're going to have to get Day up out of here. On that, no, you're right. But I think he can do both. I think he's versatile. I think it's similar in the way now, you know, careful here comparing Steph to anybody. I know that. But because he had like a meteoric rise, I think that he doesn't need it all the time. I think ideally, yeah, he can have the ball, but I think he's fine moving off. And he moved. I remember him with the Clippers moving off ball. I think he's versatile enough to make it work. But you're right. It makes Draymond less important